Hello, I'm Dodge the Grave, and today I'm being joined by horror narrator Madam Raven. Good afternoon, dear. How are you doing?
I am well, thank you very much. I am sorry it is later in the day and it is my fault, but anyway, yep.
I prefer it in the afternoon, actually.
Oh, do ya? That's good. Yeah,
I do,
a
yeah.
little more relaxed, not the chores of the day on your mind. So,
Well, it's my day off, quote unquote day off. Y'all don't know what this means, or can you see my quotes? But um, it's my day off, so I don't really get out of bed until my body wants to.
that's a good thing. That's a good thing to do for sure.
So thank you so much for being here. I went out last week trying to find some female horror narrators with over 1K subscribers, and it was tougher than thought it would be.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a harder sell for women, I guess. A lot of people, I suppose, just prefer their horror to be male, but we all know that horror absolutely supports the female. Um,
Mm.
you don't have final guys, you have final girls.
Ooh, Jamie Lee Curtis, whoop whoop.
Abs yep. And Sigourney Weaver and all
Oh
of them. So
yes,
yeah,
yes. Wow. I would consider Aliens a horror, sci-fi horror. I just realized that.
yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when it gets into that, in between. Is it an action? Is it,
Right.
whatever? But yeah, I think so.
Cool. So if someone was to say that, it's harder for a female narrator to get up and running than it is for a male, would you agree with that?
Mhm. I
Yeah.
would. I would. Um, and I'm not sure why that is, but you know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say why that is. I guess just choice. But yeah, it is more difficult for women to get involved. Because when you're narrating, you're the voice, you're the character, um, where we're used to having male hosts,
Mm,
or main characters and
mm.
things. So yeah. I've noticed that women kind of have a little bit harder time getting going. And there seems to be more men still trying, out there starting off. So
I kind of feel like there's more maybe female role play ASM artists than there are horror narrators.
yes.
I think that's probably where they're more likely to go than the horror route. Mm.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. And I'm kind of surprised there isn't like a romance female narrators. Maybe that's an untapped audience. I was never really big into romance when I was a
Right.
kid. That's what my mom bought, and I got the science fiction and fantasy and horror. But yeah, that's a thought. If anybody's thinking about getting into narrating,
Oh, huge.
there's a big market there. So,
I think they're called role plays. When you do role plays of, just it's one person talking, but it's they're having a conversation with
right.
another person. Yeah, they're really big in that. That's true.
Yeah. It is. It is. Yes. And they do have males doing those as well, I've noticed. So,
Oh yes, yes they and that's they know their stuff. Um,
they do. They really do.
and women will just eat that right up. Just
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. For sure. I tried a couple of ASMR videos.
Doing one or listening to one?
Doing, I did a couple on my channel, and it's interesting. It's interesting. It's a very different take than reading Lovecraft.
It is,
But
yeah.
yeah, it was interesting. I also did a few ambient um, videos for fun that kind of crossed over into horror, and that was just kind of for fun, just almost a joke. I did a Twin Peaks
Mm,
one of all things, and just things like that, and it's that's kind of fun. I like to listen to the ambient sounds when I go to sleep, the rain and whatever
oh,
else. So
yeah.
that's kind of a fun direction as well. But yeah, it just I don't know. They didn't get great reception. Some people wanted to hear more of those sort of things, but in a lot of ways, it is just easier to narrate a story, to be honest. Especially when you've done it for so long that it just kind of, you know what comes next. I can edit my audio with barely listening to it. Just, okay, that's a breath, take that out. And, oh, here's a double click, so I need to go back and listen and find out where it starts to, you know, cut it. But yeah, it's, when you I guess you get into a good system, and you just kind of stick with it, and it becomes, just normal. So when you switch that up and try and do a different
Yes.
type of recording, it's all new. It's all new, which is fun, and it keeps things fresh. But
Do you
yeah.
also have another channel, or is this your only YouTube channel?
Well, I do have a couple of other channels that haven't quite taken off. I had planned this spring to launch, and I've put a few videos on it for old radio programs, because the scripts have not been copyrighted. So you can just, take them and fill in the parts and do these old radio programs. And I really enjoy doing that. It's a lot of fun. It's just, extra work if you're running two channels, but no, I really enjoy the radio programs that I've done in the past. I've put a few on my channel. I've done War of the Worlds
That sounds
with some
awesome.
great narrators. That was a lot of fun. But and a few others. So it's really good. And I still plan on getting that up and going. It's just, life gets in the way. And COVID gets in the way.
Of course. Of course, yes. It's not it like they're just running your own channel, your first channel is an undertaking in
Mhm.
itself. And throw in another one and
Right.
another one and forget what is time anymore.
Right.
What's family?
I'm in a position the last few years. My parents have gotten a lot worse health-wise, and I've had to do an awful lot to take care of them.
Mm,
And my kids, they're
yeah.
up and gone, but they still need me, especially my oldest daughter, who's has two kids, and um, wants mom to help quite a bit, shall we say. So, and I enjoy that, but it does take away from running a channel, and or running two channels at least. So, yeah. But, life, you got to have life as well. So, it's a fun, I guess it's just a hobby at this point. Before things got so crazy, I was doing a lot better income wise from it, and then I had to take a 3-month break, and that was like
Mm.
5 years. It set me back, like, I would say 3 years. And so,
Wow.
trying to pick up. So that's the hard thing about YouTube is it has to be a constant thing
Yeah.
or you fall out of the algorithm, you know. And the longer you're gone, the more you have to make up. So I took 3 months off last summer because I was ready to pull my hair out with
Mm-hmm.
everything going on. And that happens to everybody in life. But yeah, it set back my channel, which, what can you do? It's not like you get paid time off when you work on YouTube.
Can we? Is that something that we can apply for,
I,
please? YouTube?
right? That would be nice.
Holy crap. Just cycle my videos through every time I miss one. And,
Right.
take one of the older ones. No one watches the older stuff. Just take.
Right. Or take, yeah.
Wow.
It's certainly would help. But yeah, that YouTube is an unforgiving mistress, that's for sure.
And it could be really angry, too. It'd be a really angry mistress.
Oh yes. Oh yes. You never know when you're gonna get I'm not even knock on
Right?
wood, but
Right. I love you,
people that
YouTube.
get right.
Please don't get mad at me.
But then you hear so and so just got demonetized and it's like,
Yep.
well,
See?
they never even
Mm.
narrated anything gory. What's going
Mm-hmm.
on? So I don't know. It's hard. It's a difficult thing, but I'm not really complaining because I love the opportunity to be able to do this. That's something I never dreamed I'd be able to do.
Why did you?
Yeah. I mean, I remember it started out. See, I've got fibromyalgia and chronic
Mm.
fatigue. So I'd, just kind of collapse in bed and listen to them. And I thought, this is probably something I could do. It doesn't take a whole lot of energy. And so, I just kind of went from there. And it's been wonderful. It's been such a wonderful experience.
Do your family or friends listen to any of your videos?
Some do. I've got my neighbor across the way. She
Oh.
listens all the time, and I just got told yesterday from by a teacher at a school I used to work at, and she's like, "I listened to you. It sounds so
Oh,
great." And
that's
I'm like, "Oh wow."
awesome.
Yeah, it seems so weird when it, crosses your real life. Um, my husband just kind of rolls his eyes.
Hmm.
Okay, whatever makes you
Right.
happy. He's not too into it, but
Right.
and my kids are just kind of like, yeah, like mom's gonna be cool. Not gonna happen. But
Goodness.
it is. It's a lot of fun. So
Well, congratulations on reaching 4,000 subscribers. That is
yeah,
amazing.
it's a lot. It's a lot. Yep, I've got my eye on that big 5,000. That would
Oh,
be
it's right
great.
around the
So
corner.
yeah, I hope so. I think I lose as many subscribers as I gain every week, but
It feels like it, doesn't
that's
it?
okay.
And then every time I upload, I feel like I lose subscribers. It's so strange.
Yeah, yeah. It's true. It's
Almost as
true.
if my posting was a reminder that they were subscribed to me and they were like, oh, yeah, I'm meant to leave a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, oh man, you look at the what is it? My brain
Mm,
just went blank. The
yeah,
statistics and stuff and what you've lost and what you've
yeah,
gained and who's viewed and you're like,
yeah. Those analytics still,
okay.
you have
Yeah.
to love it.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I kind of got lucky. Um, in my early years, I narrated a story. It was from Saki, R.R. Monroe, and it was what, The Wolves of Cernogratz. And, it was a fun little story. Well, it turned out mine was the only copy of that on YouTube at the time. And it is a story that's used in Pakistan and India in English classes.
Oh, wow.
So I became, the Cliff Notes for a lot of people in Asia over that, and it gained me a lot of views on that, and I'm like, holy cow, that was lucky.
Super lucky.
So yeah, yeah.
Wow, I love when that
So yeah, every
happens.
yeah, it's great. It's great because, 2 or 3 times a year, that video will suddenly spike.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's like, oh, good.
Yeah.
That's one little piece of luck. It was great.
I feel like your voice has an advantage over some of the others because it has more of a maternal sound to it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely not one of the youngins on here. So yeah, I think maybe that does help me, Um, yeah. Mom can read you to sleep with a Lovecraftian horror. That sounds good. But no, I mean, it's surprising how
And
many
when you,
people. Oh, yeah,
mm,
sorry.
go ahead, go ahead.
It's surprising how many people listen to horror narrators to go to sleep. And I do myself, and it's kind of funny, but yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, a lot of people just use it to fall asleep to um these stories that we read, and it's wonderful, but interesting. So yeah, yeah, I've always thought maybe my age and my voice might be a hindrance to me because, if they want to listen, they probably want to listen to someone young, but I don't know. I don't know if it's helped or
Mm-mm.
hindered in the end. It is what it is.
I mean, with 4K, it couldn't be hindering you. I'm definitely, it hits some nostalgia kind of, when I was a kid kind of section in the brain that really misses it and really needs it. And it's almost like a service you're providing to people who used to have that and can't have it anymore.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, see, when I first started out, it was Mother
Mm.
Raven instead of Madame Raven because I I collected nursery rhymes of all things because they were interesting in their backstory and everything. So my first video was about that and kind of a play on Mother Goose with Mother Raven. And
Mm-hmm.
um
Mm-hmm.
and then I thought, well, maybe that's too dowdy sounding. So, maybe something a little different. So I changed it. But yeah, maybe that's the way I should go. Maybe I should sell that quality with it. But either way, it's so fun to do. It's
Yeah.
so fun to do.
I'm so glad you were able to find something that's yours and something that
Uh-huh.
can fit with your lifestyle. That's so great.
Yeah, yeah, it's really good. When I first started, I worked at a school part-time,
Hmm.
um, teaching and reading and, working with the all-day kindergartners and lunch and all of that. And I really, really loved it. It did get too much at the end. I was out in, below zero weather for an hour
Mm.
in the winter.
Hmm.
So that was not pleasant. So it got to the point, okay, I'll stay home and see if I can make any money doing this. And I have done a few books and some other stuff that, has been fun and fulfilling. So that's good. It's kind of grown in that direction. But
Oh, that's great.
yeah, yeah.
How was your experience with doing a book?
It's scary. It's really, I mean, you have to be on point about your environment. You got a good place to record with no extraneous sounds. So it's a lot more demanding than the YouTube
Mm-hmm.
part is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for all that. It's it's great. I've done what? I've done the sci-fi. I've done a couple of um, books for those who are starting Wicca. I was hired for that.
Cool.
I was hired for a book on how to write a romance novel. So, and I did one for my brother. He does strange tales, true tales from around my area. So I narrated a book for him as well.
Hmm.
So, I haven't done one in a while. Things have been crazy, but no, it's fun. It's fun, but it's a lot more stress than just, you know what, I'm going to read The Time Machine, for people or whatever. So, and, as far as being on YouTube and getting stories, there is so many good authors out there that
Oh, yeah.
work with you. I mean, if you think
Yes.
about it, these authors on creepypastas and no sleeps, these are the same groups that existed for like Lovecraft with his little magazine that they put out, and everybody had their stories in. It's this is today's version of that, and we get to share those stories, and they're some of them are just absolutely amazing. I've had such wonderful, wonderful new authors to work with.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. So, and I mean, I did the How to Survive Camping, which I did every Saturday for 2 years and went through 4 books.
I
Yeah.
saw. Yes.
I
Holy,
mean,
tell me about that series. Okay, because it sounded like you really landed that whale when you were
oh,
able to read it.
yeah, yeah. I got so lucky because I asked in time before anybody else did, and she held off, and there was 2 of us that were allowed to narrate it.
Mm,
And so, yeah, I really lucked into that and to be able to read that. And it was such a fantastic series, and it was just right right in exactly what I like to read, with all the folklore and all of that. It's just that was just an amazing miracle for me to get that. But yeah, it was wonderful. And there's been, others back. There was a collected tale series by Gelfwin, and it was the same sort of thing, these supernatural creatures that are in our modern world. And
mm.
Baudelaire did one that's, the urban fae. And no, just these absolutely wonderful, incredible writers. And, I've got a lot of Scare in the Box. They're the ones that are sharing mostly with me right now on my subreddit. But no, I mean, just to be a part of this. I mean, yeah, it's a little niche in the world, but I think it's an important one. This is where the feet on the ground writers are
Mm-hmm.
and where they're learning, and these people,
Yeah.
they're getting book deals and all of this, and it's wonderful. And the wonderful styles and the ideas they have. It's just amazing. It really is. So,
Those indie writers, man, they can do some amazing stuff.
oh yeah. Oh
Oh, man.
yeah. There's so much talent
So
out there. It's
much.
just crazy.
It seems like a lot of people in the horror narrator community know of you. And they speak very fondly of you, by the way. But they don't know anything about you.
Oh,
I think that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to sit with you, so we can get to know you and some of your background
Oh,
and
sure, sure. Oh, goodness, what to say? I grew up in like a Norman Rockwell neighborhood, you know. I mean, it was kids would go out and, come home when the street lights came on and play games. Um, it was pretty close area. I've still got friends that I met when I was 3, you know. Um,
wow.
so it's and I live in the same small town now. So, we've moved close by, but back to the same old town here. And it's nice. It's nice. I I studied teaching in university. Didn't quite finish. Kind of quit when I was a mid junior, but I've worked with kids um, my whole life. I started my first full time job was when I was 12. I babysat for 50 hours a week,
Wow.
and during the summer. And
Yeah.
yeah, I've just always worked with kids. I had 3 of my own. My first, she was a preemie. She was 2 pounds when she was born. And back then they didn't think she was going to make it, but
Right.
she is, she's a little firecracker. She is very determined and very strong-willed.
They are the feisty ones.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
count them out.
Yeah, exactly. She's only 5 foot, but oh, she is feisty. And now her kids are feisty, and I just get to laugh at that.
I love how that works when the kids end up having kids that were just like them when they were kids,
Yeah,
and you're just sitting
right. The
back.
mother's curse
Yes,
works.
reading that Wicca book really helped out. And you
Right.
just sit back and you just watch them pull out their hair, and they're like, "Mom, can you help?" Like,
Yeah.
I'm just give me a minute to admire, and
Just
yeah, I'm watching for a minute. This is great. Oh, it's the
oh,
truth. They really do end up getting children just like them, and they get it. They finally
they
get it.
do. Yeah.
Mm,
It's true. It's true. It's great. The kid that wants the sandwich cut in half and then gets angry when the sandwich cuts in
right?
half. So yeah, that sort of thing. Yep. Oh, so yep, it's good to see that karma coming back on him.
Thank you, Karma. You don't disappoint.
Yep, yep.
Can you share with us some of the challenges that you face and how you overcome them while being a YouTube porn narrator?
Um. Oh,
Mm,
as a narrator, it's lately it's been finding time.
yeah.
Um. That. I have one weird handicap is my my throat, my esophagus has kind of a weird little umlaut or kink in it. So I always have these terrible breaths that I have to narrate or that I have to edit out every time I
Interesting.
narrate. I'm very
Oh,
self-conscious about that, but yeah, that's one of my little problems, but it makes editing a little longer. But, you put on music or somebody else's narration while you're doing it, and then it doesn't go so long. But yeah, it's interesting. It's, learning how to use well, I think most people use Audacity
yes.
because it's free
Hmm.
and it's good. Learning to use it. Once you get over that, it's easier. Learning, what you're doing or how to improve the sound has always been tough for me. It's like, okay, I put a blanket over my head. Will that
Right.
work?
Yeah.
Sort of thing. But, it and I kind of got to a point where I'm like, okay. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for now. And, there's compromises in life, but yeah, I had imagined by now I would be working with a more sophisticated mic than just a UBS mic, but it works and it gets me where I'm going. So,
It gets the job
yeah,
done.
it does. It does. It really does. So,
And then after a while, you end up realizing, just looking at the sound waves in Audacity and being like, there's my inhale, there's my mouth click, there's my
yep,
sibilance. Yeah.
right, exactly. Yep, yep. You don't even need to play it. It's true.
Oh,
It's
man.
true. It's true. And it's funny because it wasn't my first time using Audacity when I started.
Oh,
I used to
really?
use Audacity to go through audio when I was a ghost hunter. So I had a little bit of um, familiarity with it. So
I'm
that was
sorry,
a
a ghost hunter? Hello? How did you just blah, 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 just yada, yada, yada over ghost hunter?
yeah, that was so much fun. That was my previous hobby.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh yeah, that was so much fun. But yeah, I was a ghost hunter for a few years there, in the late zeros,
Mm
2000s.
hmm. Mm hmm.
It was a lot of fun. I grew up in a haunted house, so it's always fascinated me. But yeah, it's something I've always been interested in. I remember I was like 10 years old and
Mm hmm.
reading the Warrens books and Hans Holzer and stuff like that. And
Mm.
so yeah, that's always been an interest of me, which, kind of got me there in the horror section. But yeah, it's we grew up. There's some kind of ghost in my folks' house. It's still there. Um, it can get angry. My brother, that's the middle brother, had
Mm.
gone over to take some games of my youngest brother's without asking, and a violin little resin decoration flew across the room and almost hit him.
Mm.
So it gets angry from time to time, but it's just something we grew up with. And so when I got a chance to join this ghost hunter group, um, I jumped on it. It was so fun because we got to go to all of these neat places that nobody else could go to and see places inside these buildings that people weren't normally shown. Um, we went to the city county building in Salt Lake and we got up in the upper rafters and up on the roof and underneath there's a tunnel that used to run from the old jail to the courtrooms so that the press wouldn't hound whoever was on
Right.
trial. And that was where Ted Bundy was led through. And just, I mean, it's just neat to be able to go to those
Yeah.
places anyway, even if you'd never see or hear anything all night.
Just being there.
Just,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And, I've had some amazing experiences doing that. And it was really fun. It really was. And we all got busy with life and everything kind of fell to the side. But yeah, it's a really fun hobby. So,
Would you like to share one of your experiences?
sure, I would be glad to. Um, my favorite place to go, we used to go all the time, was a building that was built in the early 1920s. And it was a stock building, but not like stocks on the stock exchange, but like cattle stock.
Right.
So they'd bring in, the cows at the end of the year and sell them up for, slaughter, and the sheep and whatever else. And there was a triple murder. The president of the stock building and his two secretaries were shot and killed in the 1920s.
Mm.
And later on, they turned it into the mental health center for the county down there. And 3 people managed to commit suicide while they were there.
Mm.
And they had the morgues in the basement.
Oh
And there
my
was at least
goodness.
one natural death. So there was, a lot that had happened.
Yeah.
And a group that was not us. It was one that had come through earlier. They were actually on Coast to Coast with this EVP um, that it's a lot of splashing, and you hear a deep voice say, "He drowned," and you hear a boy asking for
Mm.
help. And and nobody was actually in the building when this happened. The building was locked up. Everybody had left and gone to break. And there was no way anybody could have said that. There was no water around for the
Wow.
splashing you hear. And when they researched it, there was a boy that had fallen into the culvert that went under the building and did, in fact, drown. They didn't know about that until um, they had the EVP and looked into it. But there
Wow.
was a girl there. And I say girl, I'm using air quotes because, as far as I know, little girl ghosts aren't able to sound like baritone men. But she would copy the voices of people that were in the group that had left. And, you'd be sitting there and then you'd hear, you know, Kevin went to he went down the road to the gas station, and you can hear him in the other room, and you go, "Rebecca, is that you?" And you hear, "Ha ha ha, yeah." And it's like, okay,
Nice try, Rebecca.
right. But the lady that had owned it, she had used it as a haunted attraction.
Mm.
And she had actually got turned into the labor thing down there because they say, well, she's got like an 8-year-old girl climbing down the stairs, like in The
Oh,
Exorcist.
wow.
She actually, and no, there was no little girl working there. It was an actual ghost. So that was fun. Like I said, the morgue was in the
Mm.
basement of that
Hmm.
building. And the best thing that ever happened to me was there. Um, we had kind of an energy pump that was putting out energy into the air to try and see if they can,
Mm.
use that energy. And I had a ping pong ball that was on the floor that was thrown at me from about waist height out of the door. Nobody was in there, and that was so cool. That was so awesome.
Thank goodness it was a ping pong ball.
Right, right. And but no, that was so cool. But there was an entity down there that was like 7 foot tall,
Wow.
old cowboy, big bushy beard and everything.
Yeah.
And our leader, he didn't like to be called our leader, but everybody decided he was, so he was. No, you're in charge of everything, sorry. But he came around the corner, and I was down there when it happened, but I didn't see. And he walked right smack into the cowboy. And he was 6'3" himself, and he was looking up at
Right.
this thing. And then it kind of vanished. So that was kind of awesome too.
Wow.
A lot of EVPs, a lot of shadow people. But yeah, that was such a fun place. I think they've torn it down now, which is sad. But
Aw.
yeah, it was. But I mean, it had water running underneath it, and it was made of sandstone, limestone. Anyway, a very crystalline structure. So, that could be the reason why it was so active, but it was such a fun hobby.
Have you ever played the game Phasmophobia?
I have not. I've
No.
seen it and I've thought about it, but I have not played that one.
I would be interested to see what that would be like for you. Do you
Yeah, I'll have to look into
Yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely. There's another one that just came out called Demonologist that I've been playing.
Oh,
It's practically Phasmophobia, just
oh yeah.
you're able to customize your character, and there's maybe one or two other tools there, maybe that
Uh-huh.
Phasmophobia doesn't have. But it gives you a lot more jump scares. It's a lot scarier than Phas. So,
Oh, cool. I'll have to give those both a try.
yeah,
That sounds fun.
yeah, it sounds like it would be
Yeah,
up your alley for sure.
it does. It does. No, we had some really fun times. There's a train station that's down a little further that we also used to go to,
Mm.
and this the security guard there says, "Well, can my friends come in and you can show them where the haunted spots are and stuff." So they asked me to show them around, and it was a super sweet couple, and we went around and ran around, but in the basement of this train station, there is this curmudgeon, just ornery old man spirit down there. Well, the guy in the couple that I was showing around, he was a big guy. He was well over 300, if not close to 400
Mm.
pounds. And we got down in the basement and we had one of those ovuluses that, you know, allows the ghosts to say words. And the word elephant kept coming up. And I'm like, oh, crap.
Oh,
And I'm like, maybe there was a circus that came through. I'm like, oh, please don't offend this poor guy. And the guy laughs and he says, no, he's talking about me. And he thought it was great. And I'm like, okay, phew, nobody's
yeah.
offended. I think that was the night that I forgot to tell everybody they could not follow me home. And that curmudgeon, he followed me home. And
No.
it was kind of a mess for about a month or two. And he would wake me and my husband up. He'd tap on my hip 3 times, and he did it to my husband as well. And
Mm.
every time you showered, he would knock on the door. And I mean, that was super creepy when you were home alone.
Right. Oh my gosh.
And he did it to me and he did it to the kids. And then finally, my youngest, who was only about 9 at the time, she woke up and his face was like right above hers. And I'm
Oh my
like, "Oh
goodness.
no. No, no, no. You need to go now." So, yeah. We told him he had to leave and he did, but holy cow, was that he's
That
an
was the last
interesting
straw.
guy.
Yeah. Oh, good. I don't even know. I will never know. Thank you, Jesus, for never putting me in that situation. I, I for those
Yeah.
people who would be like, okay, so congratulations on your new home. I'm leaving.
Yeah,
You
right.
win hands down. I can't fight you. So
Yeah.
here's the keys. Just go.
Right. Right. Yeah, I kind of got in trouble for that one. But yeah. No, it was a fun hobby. It was a fun hobby. So yeah.
Have you ever read a story that was so scary that you actually stopped reading it?
No, not too scary. I've started a few that are too gory, and
Mm.
I'm not much into the gore. That's not my thing. And I'm just like, That's too much. I'm gonna have to pass on that. There was one when I was first narrating and I got permission to read, and it involved kids and violence, and I'm like,
Mm,
oh, I can't do
yeah.
that. I can't do that. So yeah, I haven't gotten scared by anything I've read, but yeah, ghosts, they don't bother me. But, the horrors of reality can be too much. So, yeah, that's kind of where I fall on that subject.
I can't. I also can't say that I'm right there with you. When it talks about eyes or digging in your own, I
Oh,
cannot
yeah.
do that. Really gory horror movies, I
Yeah.
cannot.
Yeah. Yeah. The body horror, that's the
Yes.
ones that get me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Supernatural, not a problem. Even, slightly demonic, okay, we can deal with that. But yeah, the body horror is yeah, what gets me. So, yep, I agree. And, if there's kids involved, that's kind of, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
not. So,
Well, you've had so many interesting experiences. Have you ever tried writing them down, or did you ever make a video out of any of them?
um, I have. I've talked about them, on videos before, and I had my brother on for an interview sort of thing, and we've talked about different things that had happened when we grew up and stuff.
Mm.
So yeah, I've talked about it before. Um, so I think maybe the longtime subscribers know about it. I've had people ask me to have my brother on again so we can talk about it. So I can send him to your channel
Hi,
to
I'm
listen to this.
nice to meet you.
Yay.
Madam Raven is lovely. I bet you are lovely as well.
Oh. Well, you have such a good voice. You have such a good voice for radio. You could be, on the news. I could hear that, from you.
Oh, thank you. Have you heard any of my narrations before?
Yeah, you have a wonderful voice.
Uh-huh.
A bit, yeah, yeah.
Do I sound different compared to my narrations?
Not really. Not really. They sound pretty
Mm.
close.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're always harder on ourselves with our voice. And that's the thing for narrators is we have to get beyond that point that everybody's at that they hate their own voice. You know.
oh no, I love my voice.
Oh, good.
I didn't realize that I sounded the same as when I narrate, but I don't really narrate.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. I don't do the she went to the store. Do I? I
Yeah.
don't know if I even do.
Yeah.
I have to
I
listen to
will,
more of my stuff.
depending on, I put various degrees of drama on the story, depending on what it's
Yes,
about and whatnot, you know?
exactly. Yes. I find a lot of the main characters sound like me, so I also feel like I'm not really narrating, just
Right,
talking.
right. Yeah,
So,
yeah. And see, me, I have to watch myself. I want to go totally camp, which goes along with the, radio dramas.
yes.
But still, just totally go Vincent Price on them, cackling and the whole works. That's fun
Yes.
sometimes.
Oh, it's so hard, especially when it gets really dark and disturbing. You just really want
Oh
to.
yeah.
Ah,
You
Vincent
can put
Price.
drama into that as well.
Yes.
So,
Thank you for saying that. I wanted to go on the radio. I thought about doing like news stuff. But then I was like, maybe I don't. Maybe I'm not news worthy. Maybe radio. I can do radio. Radio's good. But I never pursued that. I should have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still can. Go for it.
Yeah, it's never too late. I can still talk.
It's not. It's not.
Thank you, God.
You actually remind me of an actress, and I can kind of see her face. She played a coroner, and I can't think of even what show it was on, but you kind of remind me of
Oh.
her. But yeah, you do. You have a great voice.
Thank you. I'm not blushing. You're blushing.
It's funny because I meet people, and you meet people, you look at them, you shake their hand, whatever. But it's the voice I listen to, and it's like, oh, they've got a good voice.
I do that too. And I used to tell
Right?
people when I met them, be like, you have a really nice voice. You should be a narrator. And they would just look at me weird, like, what are you talking about? Like, yes, you would be really good. Nah. But no one believes me, and it's fine. But if there's like a spike in YouTube channels, it's because of me. I did it. Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
That's great. But it is funny. It is funny because that is something you notice now that you really didn't before you do
Exactly.
this
You
sort of
notice
thing.
clicks, you notice when someone has a lisp or if they have any weird
Hmm.
vocal thing, you notice.
Right. Or their accent. You're like, okay, okay, wait.
Yes. Yes, you notice accents immediately.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're like, okay, that's Irish. But it's not North Irish,
Mm.
but it's not Dublin. The more you get, the more you listen, the more you can pick
Yes.
out.
And then you're like, when did I have a story where I needed to fake a British accent? And you just
Yes.
start going in this weird circle.
Yeah. Well, it's funny if you get apart from a certain person, I'll think of a certain person I know from that area.
Yes.
Like growing up, the bookstore owner in town, she was this sweet little Irish lady with this
Mm.
lovely lilt. So if I have to do an Irish accent, I've got her voice in my head
Oh,
and I'm doing
wow.
her, you know what I mean? So
Yes.
it's funny, but yeah, you notice those things.
You do.
So
Wow.
it's interesting. It's fun.
If you could collaborate with anyone, who would it be and why?
Oh, goodness. I've had so many good collaborations with people. We, I help Musi set up the, once or twice a year, we do this huge collaboration on Dr. Creepin's channel.
Mm.
With you get, everybody's paired up and you find stories and that's I've had so many good people to work with. I've had Nature's Temper collab with me on projects where there's a whole bunch of parts, but I think it would be fun to collaborate with him on a one-on-one basis. Um, it would be fun with Spike too. That would be great. Oh, there's just so many. There's just so many. Um,
Why were they the first two that you thought of?
I don't know. There's Nature's Temper. He's great. He's awesome. He's autistic, and so is he's total just brain fart here. I believe he has Asperger's, like my son.
Mm.
And so I kind of look at him like kind of a nephew. He's just a sweet guy. I've watched him go through school and all that. But no, he's got a really smooth voice. He does accents absolutely amazingly well.
Mm.
He's a really good narrator. And I mean, there's just so many that I would just like to do. I need to go out and just ask is what I need to
Yes,
do.
all you have
But
to do
yeah.
is ask. That's why
And
we're
see,
here.
that was like I know, right? That was my biggest hurdle to overcome.
Mm,
Was one asking authors for permission. That was terrifying the first few
yeah.
times. And actually the authors were like, "Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for asking. I'm excited." And you're like, "Really? I have 5 subscribers.
Exactly.
Why isn't
I'm
it
like, wait, let
exciting?"
me give you my YouTube. You saw my channel already? Are you sure you're on the right channel?
Right? It's like, yeah, you know what we're
Right?
talking
You
about
didn't
here?
win money. You're
But, no, yeah, yeah. And, asking to collab with people was also very
Mm,
nerve-wracking. But, yeah, and then you find out, oh, everybody's glad to do it, unless they've got something major going on, which obviously
right.
everybody understands. But, yeah, it's just, friendly and supportive, really. So it's great. And those that subscribe to all the channels and listen, and it's fun to watch them talk to each other and to you on different people's videos and whatever. But no, it's there's a lot of people I need to collab with. I
You
need to make a
should.
list.
Yeah.
I know, I know. Oh, it's just yeah, yeah. I need to have more planning time and get things done that way. But yeah.
Do you find that you're different when you collab, that you're a different narrator when you collab with someone else?
Yes and no. I almost think of myself almost more of a voice actor than a narrator
Mm-hmm.
because you just kind of, I mean, especially when you're collabing because you've got these characters that are interacting and acting against each other. And that's really such a thrill when you're collabing and you get the lines and you put everybody's lines together and you get the music right and you get the sounds right and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, wow, that was awesome." It just the whole thing and it just sounds better than you thought it was going to and it's such a thrill to do that, which is why I wanted to get that second channel up and running and I still plan to try. So, no, it's collaborations are wonderful. They just add so much variety and you help each other get your name out to other subscribers and it's it's just fun. It's just plain fun. And see, I would love to get into voice acting. I love,
Mm-hmm.
the character stuff and when I had a little bit more time, I would go on to Reddit, record this for free and well, I'll do this or I'll do that and it's fun, I mean, there was a kid that was putting together a video game and he wanted an old
Oh,
granny from
nice.
out in the old outback. And, it's just
Yes.
fun to throw yourself into those things, just get
Oh, that sounds like fun.
totally campy. Oh, yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
you just
Mm-hmm.
do it for fun. You just got to throw yourself into it. So,
How has your audience's response to your narrations influenced your creative process and the content you choose to provide?
that's a good question. I am always looking for feedback, and I
Mm.
have such wonderful subscribers that will give it. And, oh, do more of this, do more of that. Oh, hey, can you do a Clark Ashton Smith story? Or, can you do this story? And I'm always glad to acquiesce if I have permission for the said story. Um, but I figure there are so many of us that I can just be myself
Mm-hmm.
and pick the stories I like for the most part. And, you know, if they're like me, they'll enjoy it. And if they won't, I guess I'll unsubscribe and go elsewhere. But no, I definitely take in suggestions. I take in, criticisms. I remember for a time I'm like, okay, what am I doing? What can I do better at? And just, basically begging other narrators or subscribers, what do I need to improve on? Help me, give me a direction. So, I'm always up for that. And, you know, I will look into just about any story that's submitted to me to read. And like I say, I don't,
Hmm.
don't go in for the gore and all of that. But, those that are interested in the things I do, I did a Missing 411 series that basically looked at the folklore of the world that talked about people that would go missing. So, the Fae, they would steal people. In Japan, it's called Kamisama Kuchi, I believe, which means spirited away by the gods. And, just different things like that. El Duende in South America will kidnap children into the jungle. And, you know, um, that's something I'm very interested in is, folklore and mythology. And so, the sort of stuff I like kind of gets woven in. And back to analytics. Does it work? Does it not work? And actually, those that I, do put more of myself into and my interests do manage to do, quite well, um, on the
Yeah,
whole.
that Faye one did really well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think it's interesting. I think, there may be multi-dimensional portals that are in untraveled ways that things happen to people. I mean, it's science. It's not, well, it's kind of superstition, but you can look at it from a scientific point of view as well. But
Mm.
so I'll try different things and see, throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's kind of the fun of it. Um, I need to do more folklore because I've been asked to. So, but that does take a little more time. You have to research it and get it together and put together a script and all of that. But,
Right.
that's very rewarding too in its own way. So,
You were brave to try to do that because those words in that story they were like tongue twisters and mental torture. I can't even imagine
yeah.
how. Did you like research how to pronounce it first or did you just wing it?
Sometimes it's one and sometimes it's the other. And then I'm
Hmm.
thinking, okay, I've pronounced that name three different ways. I probably ought to look it up before I go any further.
One of them are right. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
one of them is the right one. All three of them are
exactly.
wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny. The thing is I will be narrating and I know the word and I know what the word means and I know how it sounds and I try and say it and I can't get it right and I have to try it like four
Yes.
times. I'm like, okay, that sounds right.
Have you just looked at a word and was like, that's not the word. That doesn't even look like the word. It doesn't look like it's spelled right.
Right. And yeah, you look at a word too long and it's like, that doesn't mean anything at all.
That's when it's time to take a break.
Exactly.
Oh man. Is there anything that you
So
wish your viewers knew about the process of creating horror narrations for your channel?
I don't know if there's anything I wish they knew.
Mm.
I think they've known at times I've been ready to tear my hair out
Mm,
with things.
mhm,
That
mm,
kinda comes through whether you want or not,
yeah.
but, um, I think the whole point is to hide the problems and say, "Oh, look, here is a nice story. You don't need to know that, the phone rang 10 times while I was recording it, and the dog had to go out 3 even though it was a 10-minute piece," and,
Oh, no.
you know, that sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I feel I'm fairly candid at the end of some of my videos. I'll talk and what I picked up or what I saw in it, but and I think, okay, so I usually I end up cutting half of
Mhm,
it out, and I'm like, "Oh, that's stupid. Just yeah,
mhm,
cut that
mhm.
part out." But I try to be, I don't know, down to earth, approachable, because it is such a cool thing about the world right now is we have we have access to all sorts of topics that, would be so niche before, and you can find
Yeah.
a whole community around it. And you hear um artists that, wouldn't be mainstream, that you would never hear on the radio, but you get to not only listen to them and find their music, but they're often so available on social media to talk to,
Yeah.
interact with. And that really blows my mind about the world we live in right now. It's such a neat thing. And you become fans of people that do weird things like narrate horror stories,
Yes.
you know? And nothing like that could have ever happened
No.
in the world
Yeah.
before, but, you get to know people, and, I've made such good friends with my subscribers, and, they've stuck around year after year, and it's great, and I love, love, love when they, comment, and you can just interact and talk to them, um, on a one-to-one basis. It's, really amazing to me. Just, I'm old enough, it's just stunning.
It is. It is. Because it seemed like back
Yeah.
in the day, your fans, the celebrities, they were only in the screen or, through the theater or, you know,
Yeah.
they were
Completely
untouchable.
untouchable, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Unknowable, and yeah.
They were in books and magazines. They were in Encyclopedia Britannica. They were not anywhere
Yeah,
that you could come near. And
right.
to be so to have people that you admire or that that you really are a fan of to be so accessible
Mhm.
is pretty amazing.
It really is, it really is. I mean, I've had Neil Gaiman twice comment on a tweet of mine, I mean,
Oh
that's
man.
bragging rights.
Yes, twice. The first one probably wasn't a mistake. This happened for
Yeah,
sure. They did it.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, we're everybody's much more connected,
Mhm.
over interests. I mean, Miss Creepy Tales, she's in the Philippines. You've got people in Europe, all over America, South America. Lady Spookaria's in Australia, and it's so amazing to make friends with people all over the world, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
It's just wonderful, the whole thing. Um,
Blows your mind. Back then it was
yeah.
just a chat room if you were lucky. Now you're
Yeah.
actually talking to people.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. It's really a different landscape, but, like you say, it allows artists a a chance, artists of all kinds, a chance that never existed before. And connecting with people with the same interests was just not possible back then.
Yeah.
So, but
We used to
anywho,
watch like the evening news. Like we used to watch like
yeah,
whatever news channel you watched it, and they were telling you the
mhm.
truth. Nothing is, you know, you know what I mean?
There was no
There was no
spin on it.
spin.
It
It was
was
just pure
facts.
facts. This is happening outside my window. Whatever has happening across the
Right.
pond is actually happening.
Yeah.
You're like a family friend to me, Anchor, and I trust you. And now
Yeah.
it's like now you got to do research. You got to like check credibility.
Yeah.
You have to. You're not even
Right.
watching the news anymore. You're watching like you're watching
Propaganda.
propaganda.
Yeah.
Last week tonight, a closer look. Whatever you watch for your news, you don't watch the
Uh-huh.
TV anymore. This is
No.
what is this world?
I I know. It's it's absolutely insane. And uh,
Mm,
the stories they try and sell, and oh, you need to hate these people and you need to hate those
mm.
people, and it's so frustrating, but I'm hopeful that the people will look beyond that.
Yeah, me too.
I
I
have to
have
be.
to. I have to believe. I can't give up hope.
I have to believe there's good.
Oh, there's hope. Please tell me
Exactly.
there's hope. Ugh.
Oh.
Oh.
And you're with a group and somebody starts talking about somebody who sells propaganda, and you're like,
Not
"Oh, can I be this
friend
person's
anymore.
friend?"
Can we still be friends? Oh man.
Oh.
Wow, that's true.
Oh, and they keep pushing it so you can't be friends. That's what they want. And it's like,
Where is my time machine before I knew this information? You were so cool then.
yeah, exactly. Can we get the flashy
Yes.
thing from
So,
Men in
I feel
Black
like it's
over
called a
here, please?
nebulizer, but I'm not sure. Maybe a neuralizer, something
Neuralizer?
like that.
Something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Some amnestics from the SCP Corporation.
jeez. Yeah, you gotta, with the world being bigger and making it easier to access people, you have to be so careful. Mm.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. Most definitely. And people want something to believe in and cling to. It's true. It's true. So,
When you decide to look for a story that you want to narrate, what is your story choosing process?
well, yes, I look for something of interest. I do kind of look through those that have been posted to me or emailed to me first.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I know I've got permission for those, but,
Right.
other than that, um, I do look for something that interests me. Because if it's boring, it's gonna come across that I'm bored,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, something that interests me, something, um, that you can put yourself into, that you feel something about, good or bad or whatever, that you can, say. Um, Something humorous. You find all these shortcuts. I found a great short story site that's all public domain, and it'll tell you how long it takes to read. You have to kind of almost double it because it means reading it mentally, but
Right.
you know, that was my new great find because, okay, I need something. Well, I got time for something a little longer, so we'll just pop it in and see what we have. But um,
That is a godsend. Not even having to worry about that.
y- yeah, yeah, right. Usually, Reddit and Gutenberg are my two main go-tos. I do like to read the older stories. I like the aesthetic of a quieter time, a more elegant theme sometimes. And so, yeah, I like to put those on. And, there's a lot of little interests that I kind of sprinkle in. Steampunk, I've done, quite a bit of that. I've done horror, the old time science fiction. They've got some great ones in public domain with, great writers like Kurt Vonnegut, and people like that. So, yeah, I do kind of look for what interests me, and I hope that it interests my audience. So yeah, I will admit I have let authors push me to narrate stories I wasn't too happy or comfortable with, and I've learned to kind of put my foot down on that one. But yeah, I'm kind of a pushover. I need to work on that, but yeah, yeah. If it interests me, I'm hoping it interests somebody else.
Ah, isn't it tough to say
It
no?
is. It really
To
is.
collabs to anyone who's like, oh, you're so great. I think you're the best.
Yeah,
I want your voice on my story. Can you pretty
yeah,
please?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, just this once. Oh.
And I don't like a lot of bad language. That's just not who I am. I mean, if I get angry, sure, I'll say some things, but as far as narrating, it's just not me, I guess, and that's okay. Um,
Hmm.
I haven't had any problem with authors. If I cut out an F word here or there, as long as
Right.
the meaning's there. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of a delicate dance. But I have a right to say no, just as well as authors that I contact have a right to say no. And you just have to have that nice, accepting attitude from both sides. Um, Some of them are like, well, I'm kind of maybe getting a deal on this. And I'm like, that's wonderful. I won't read it then. Congratulations.
Yes,
But,
right.
I have never run into an irate writer. So, I mean, if you're asking, you're asking. And some of them like, well, I'd like to get paid for it. And you're like, that's great. I make 30 cents a video,
Right.
So I can't do that right now. And either like, okay, well, you can read it, or sorry. And either response is fine. As long as everybody's cordial and happy with the outcome. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, authors are not as scary to contact as I first thought. They're
Mm-mm.
So it's a good thing. And yeah, there's been hiccups. And I can see there was a wave of narrators that never asked for permission, and that had to come down as
Yep.
you got to get permission. And um, there was the writers organizing that they want to get paid. And that's totally understandable as well. They put a lot of work into those things.
They really do. Yes.
And but if I'm not making money, I can't, give them money. But you just have to come to an agreement on it. So yeah, that's, I guess, if I was to give any advice to upcoming narrators,
Hmm.
it would be, make sure you're to dot your I's and cross your T's, get permission for everything. And, I've gotten things off of Pixabay that were videos, and of course they get flagged and you get, okay, fine. So, you got to be careful. And, people have gotten around that in different ways. A picture with rain or snow over top of it, or your own video, or whatever it is. But yeah, that's something you have to put up with too. Just the music or the video you're using, make sure you've got permission. And if you've got it from someplace you're supposed to use it from, you still may get caught. But
Yeah, still.
yep. And it can be very annoying, especially when it's on some video that you really, really liked,
Right?
It's like,
Oh my
crap,
gosh.
why this one?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't, just be prepared. That's
Yeah,
it. Just accept the fact that it's not going to always go your way.
yeah,
Be flexible.
yep, exactly, exactly. And yeah, just jump into it and have fun. You don't need the whole setup. I recorded on a tablet for, gosh, almost a year, I think, before I got a microphone, because you're starting out and things, you don't have the great equipment and you don't know how to talk and how you sound and all that others. You just have to practice,
Yeah,
on everything.
yeah.
So
Goodness.
there's always something new to learn.
And it's okay to start off on it. Like, there's so much that you can learn. You can learn more about editing. You can learn more about your pacing when you read. You can learn more
Oh,
about
absolutely.
working on Canva with thumbnails. There's a lot of things you can
Mm-hmm.
do when you're just starting out.
Oh, yeah.
So don't think that you got to have the $400 microphone and da 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 and the
Right.
closet full of paneling of soundproof foam.
Sound.
Like, people make do with almost nothing,
Yeah.
and there's still growth that can be had.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've recorded more than one audiobook in a closet because in the closet with the clothes, it's
Yes.
quiet,
Yes.
It's you learn and as you go and just jump into it is what I would say. So,
Just jump in.
yeah,
Yeah.
have fun.
Find the joy in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there are a ton. It doesn't have to be horror narrations. If you want to narrate classics, if you want to narrate mysteries, if you know what I mean? I mean, there's so much to just go out and be yourself and do what you
Absolutely.
love.
Absolutely.
So,
You might think that horror narrating is the thing that you want to do, but then you realize that maybe true crime is what you're into. Maybe.
mhm.
And there's so many different types of horror narrator out there that
Oh yeah.
just got to find your voice.
Mhm. It's true. It's true. Yep. And I mean, there's individual stories, there's series that are amazing.
Yes.
There's just so much out there.
Yeah.
Um,
So what's stopping now? For the low,
yeah.
low price of
Go
29.
now.
Yeah. Do it now. It really does sound like we're recruiting people. I'm not recruiting
Right.
anyone. I'm not responsible for any of you. You
Exactly. Exactly. We'll get Shia LaBeouf in here. Do it.
do it now. Oh my gosh, that used to be my alarm for so long. Yes,
Really?
I just have that YouTube video play. It's like nothing is stopping you but you. You're right, Shia. I'm getting out of the bed now.
There you go. That's great.
Yes. Perfect.
I'd probably want to punch him in the face.
No.
Go away. I'm going back to sleep.
Right? Oh, man.
Oh, funny.
I have one last question for you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. It is hidden on my laptop.
Of course.
Thank you. Yeah, of course it is. Thank you, laptop. It's on strike. I'm convinced.
Oh, do you know my laptop overheats every time I render a video? So
No.
I've got like a cookie tin that I put ice cubes in and put my laptop on top of it.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that it won't overheat while it's rendering.
Holy cow. I was going to ask if you had any weird, like, if you had any, not, I was going to say seances for some reason, any weird habits when you're
Yeah.
recording. That would have probably fallen in the line of it.
Yeah, that would probably work. Yeah. I've got it in my freezer ready to go.
Oh my goodness. And that actually helps you?
It does. It does. It'll render the video where it wouldn't do it because it would overheat. Oh,
Crazy.
I know. I know.
Um,
It's crazy, but
it works. Yeah, dude, you gotta make do. Like you just gotta figure it out.
exactly. Exactly.
So finally, can you share any upcoming projects or collaborations that your fans can look forward to, and where can they find you online?
Okay. I do have a Twitter and Instagram. I have Facebook. Um, as far as anything coming up, I would say watch the other channel. I hope to get that going soon. It is my brain just went totally. Radio Theater Macabre is the second channel where I'm doing the radio programs. As far as anything coming up, I really don't have too much going on. I am starting in The Mountains of Madness by Lovecraft. I'm going to be doing that every Saturday morning for a while. I just finished The Time Machine, and before that was, oh, The Island of Dr. Moreau. So, and then during the week I have smaller stories. So that's kind of the plan so far. So we'll see how that goes.
Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me along. That was so fun.
I'm so glad you had fun. Yay.
I did.
And thank you guys for joining us as well. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. I will see you soon. Take care.
I wouldn't survive a horror movie. I love horror movies. There's no way I'll survive in one. I'm too intrigued, you know.
Yes. I imagine I imagine I'm the same way. That I would just be like, "You look cool. You're gonna kill me? Interesting. With what? Machete. Yeah, I'd go with machete too."
Yeah, one of the most interesting interactions. I went to a haunted house.
Mm.
Not like a ghost one, but it was like the Halloween. It was around Halloween time,
Yes. Yes.
and I remember there's these guys. One had like a chainsaw. He's like, "Get in the hole." I was like, "Yes, sir." Sure, no problem. Let's see where this goes.
And what did he say?
And he just stopped, like he like unrevved his chainsaw. He's like, "You're so polite." I'm like,